latest to come out from the Disney Pixar factory, and that is Luca. I'm going to be the first one here to talk about Luca and tell you guys what it's all about and what I thought of it here. So, Luca was written and directed by Enrico Casarosa, who his only other directing credit is the Pixar short La Luna, which came out 10 years ago. I guess that's how long it takes you to work your way up the ranks of Pixar, is you get to make a short and then 10 years later they finally give you a project of your own. Anyways, so Luca is voiced by Jacob Tremblay, and he is a sea monster, and he is extremely adventurous and curious of what else is out there. You know, up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. He wants to be part of that world. You see what I did there? Because this has a lot of Little Mermaid vibes to it, especially at the beginning. It's like Little Mermaid meets Coco at the beginning. In fact, I had to keep double checking to make sure that Jacob Tremblay really was the one that voiced Luca, because every time he tried to drop into some sort of Italian accent, he ended up sounding like the kid who voiced Miguel in Coco. And so I always had to double check. I'm like, this isn't the same kid, right? No, okay, it's not. So eventually he meets a friend named Alberto, who is a sea monster who lives above the surface. And the thing about these sea monsters is when they get above the surface, they look like normal people. But when they get wet, they turn back into their sea monsters. So Alberto teaches Luca the ways of the surface, at least what he thinks are the ways of the surface. And eventually they make their way into the nearby town to try and find what is their holy grail of Vespa. And so they're out in hunt of a Vespa, and end up meeting Julia, who becomes one of their best friends along the way, and eventually kind of tears these friends apart a little bit as well. I think Pixar, it takes a lot for Pixar to do something wrong, and I don't think they did anything wrong here. I'm giving it 3 stars. But it's fascinating how this movie was put together and how it borrows so many different themes from different things. Like I said, it's like Little Mermaid meets Coco. But I think some of the underlying themes that are very interesting in this, and how they're able to use Luca to talk about things without really talking about things. And how it's looking at things like accepting people for who they are, accepting people for things that they want to hide about themselves, that aren't necessarily visible on the surface. It's really cool how they're able to do that in this way. I think as soon as I saw the trailer for this, of 2 boys wandering the Italian countryside one summer, there's definite like underlying. It's impossible not to think about Call Me by Your Name in this setting a little bit, and those are some of the themes that come out. But instead of talking about homosexuality, it's talking about being a sea monster. And it's able to teach some of these things through this lens, and I think it's a really cool way of doing it. And I thought it was really neat. There's all the way it ends. It definitely leans into that theme a little more than it does. There's some stuff that happens and revelations and things like that. Anyways, I really liked it. I don't think it's necessarily a Pixar masterpiece. I'd put it like on par with what they did last year with Onward. But I'm giving it 3 stars. Let's go to Zach. What'd you think?
Yeah, so clearly you didn't read A.O. Scott's review, where he said it's either Calamari by Your Name or Call Me by Your Nemo.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Tony's hitting a new low there. But yeah, Terry, I agree with a lot of what you said. I give this movie 3 stars as well. I thought it was charming. In the first 10 minutes, I was bored. I was like, okay, great, Little Mermaid again, except it's without the charm, without the music. But yeah, this movie did grow on me. I think I liked it because it had a good share of some quirky characters. For example, Julia's father. At first, I'm just thinking, okay, this is the chef from The Little Mermaid. He doesn't have any eyes. He has big, bushy eyebrows and mustache. But, he's a pretty cool character. Basically, kind of like the Vin Diesel of this movie, really, in a lot of ways. I like the dynamic between Luca and Alberto. At first, I was thinking, oh, this is like Corey Sean on Boy Meets World a little bit. I mean, maybe Todd can go into that a little more. But
I like that.
I agree. I mean, if you look at social media, everybody's talking about this is one of the gayest movies Disney's ever done, in a positive way, of course. And that's very cool. I definitely like that. I do have to talk a little bit about this bike race that they go on over the course of the movie, okay? Because I thought it was a pretty impressive bike race. Now, it's not just a bike race, but there are components of biking, swimming, and eating pasta. Now, I have to say, I have run the beer mile before, and I did not throw up, but I did not finish it. So I can think of like eating pasta and doing all that shit as extremely strenuous. So I give my props to these characters for finishing up. And yeah, I mean, I don't there's nothing objectionable in this movie. There's some nice little odes to, Italian neorealism. There's some nice sunshine. I like the parents. I can't give this movie more than 3 stars though, because it doesn't have the ambition of Soul. And I think that's where everybody's kind of stuck with. If you give this movie more appreciation than you gave to Soul, then shame on you because it's not as ambitious. Well, why does everything have to be so ambitious? I thought this was fun and I enjoyed it. And Todd's probably going to give it thumbs down. Maybe? No?
Todd?
No, I mean, I give it 3 stars as well.
Yeah, there we go.
Thrice approved.
Well,
yeah.
What's different about this movie than Soul and stuff is that it's a kids movie. Like, this is something that's like a throwback to like A Bug's Life or Finding Nemo, things that you don't have to like question the universe and like everything about existence in order to like really appreciate. Like, it's a kids movie. It's like the lowest ambition they've had since Brave, which also was like a movie that was just so fun and so cute that you can't really like give it a thumbs down, even though it doesn't have the emotional impact of the other ones. It sort of is onward in that way where it's like it has this massive heart and you can't like help it unexpectedly get choked up in the end for some reason. But the movie that has most in common with is Toy Story 4, because Luca is obviously Woody and he's finding out how much adventure and wonder there is in the world when you just expand your horizons, something that Alberto / Bo Peep have already figured out. And so Luca / Woody are feeling guilty about leaving their family and about having fun and about, abandoning responsibilities in exchange for actually doing something for themselves for once. And like, it's basically the same plot as Toy Story 4. But I mean, I love the setting of the movie. Like, a lesser studio would have set it in like Mexico or Florida or something, but the Italian Riviera is just the perfect place for a movie like this. The vibrant animation, the colors, it's all amazing. But even like see-through uncle guy voiced by Sacha Baron Cohen is like geniusly designed, and his accent is ridiculous and hilarious, and it's just something you can only have because it's in Italy.
Punch his chest.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, the end credits thing with him was pretty cool too, because apparently he just kept improvising and he just had so much extra content. But for me, like, the movie feels like it's one of a Pixar short, like a 8-minute silent short movie that they only expanded because they were like, oh, we should just have like something at the end, like a bike race or something. And so they're building up to this ridiculous bike race the whole time, and it works even though it probably shouldn't. But that's just because Pixar wouldn't let a movie, like a bad movie, get put out, I guess. But some things don't make sense. Like, why can the parents already walk when they come out? Like, and why do their clothes dry instantaneously, but their skin doesn't? And why does Luca already know how to read? Like, I mean, but that's just like kids movie stuff that you can ignore, I guess, because it just doesn't. I mean, it's worthless to try to figure that out. My favorite part was Dylan Grazer, who, because something about him in the coming of age in Italy just seems right. Like, he's the star of the HBO show that I really liked, We Are Who We Are, which was made by Luca Guadagnino, which obviously has a lot of parallels to this because of Calling by Your Name. And yeah, but it's like it could be about like a gay subtext, but it also is more about like finding a close friend and like accepting the fact that they're going to meet other people and that you need to accept that and do what's best for them. Like the end train scene thing was very Before Sunrise-ish. There's like tons of movie references in here, everything from Disney stuff to E.T., all the Pixar normal stuff. Sans Ratzenberger, as far as I can tell, I don't think he was in here at all. But I mean, if you have any doubt that the movie's for kids, the end goal goes from we're going to travel the world on bikes to we're going to go to school. Like, I mean, there's like a very subliminal like shove by Pixar there. Like, I mean, I like the movie a lot. It's in like the upper part of the lower third of Pixar, but I mean, even so, that still gives it a really solid 3 stars.
I can see coming out of a COVID school year, wanting to hammer home the "we get to go to school" theme is probably it's probably a good one to hammer home.
Yeah,
but I like your point that there are a lot of other themes. It's just it's easy to see that gay subtext to it because it's so unique to a product like this to come out with something like that. But you're right. There's so much other stuff going on here, and it's such a kids movie. That was a great point that you had. It truly is a kids movie. I watched it with my kids last night. They were riveted throughout the entire thing, and they loved it. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was really kind of hoping that Luca and Berto would help Julia's dad. I was hoping the movie would just go in the direction of them just telling him where all the fish were, and then he could just make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That felt like an underdeveloped subplot.
Does that also feel like they were traitors for like telling him like, oh yeah, the fish are
Seriously?
over there right now?
Yeah.
And like they see him like chopping them up. Like, was he feeding them fish? Like, was that gonna be cannibalism of some kind? I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing too, and I think that, I mean, Alberto's sticking around. Giving something. I mean, we're giving spoilers away here, but it's an hour and a half kids movie. But you think that he's going to continue to tell him where all the fish are. Track record of Pixar. I mean, if this is their floor, it's a pretty good floor. And if things like Soul and Toy Story and Inside Out and WALL-E and stuff like that are their ceiling, I mean, Pixar might be the best studio working right now. So it's pretty great. So yeah, thrice approved. It's free on Disney Plus right now. Check out Luca if you get a chance.
Maybe they should have just thrown in a scene with Sacha Baron Cohen asking, like, why am I a fish? Maybe I should kill myself, go to the afterlife, and then try to resurrect myself and find out why I'm a fish. And then all the haters would be like, oh, this is a masterpiece. It's as good as Soul.